Sort of last week, but not really. It was like hours before the exact. You know what I mean?
No worries. No worries.
It should be there.
Would you like an honor this evening?
Be alive. Uh-oh. Doing what? Oh.
Well, there's a few options. You could dress the Torah. Dress the Torah.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. I've been reminding myself all week of that saying that March comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb, because I've been ready for the lamb part. Every time the wind blows, I think, well, it's coming. Spring is coming. This is the first part. So, however you got here, whether it was by the wind or a car or any other means, it's good to see you all. And let's appreciate and share these precious moments of Shabbat together. Let's begin on page 140 as we turn to Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, this song for Shabbat. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. And we'll turn on the facing page now to the kindling of the Shabbat lights. Delighted to invite Daniela up to join me on the bima for that honor. Amen. Page 122.
The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai
The bat mitzvah kid, the whole thing.
Why not?
Shabbat shalom.
Someone should take me home.
Join us as we continue on page 138 with the familiar words of with which we use to welcome Shabbat. That Shabbat is here amongst us. Look for signs of it in each other's faces as we wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. United now, a little more closely than we were before. We turn to page 146 as we come together as one community for Shabbat.
Ya la la la, 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 ya la la la. Baruch hu et Adonai, Ha'amevarach. Baruch Adonai.
Celebrate the moments of darkness and light in our lives with the prayer of page 148. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yitbaro ma'ariv aravim v'chokhmah poteach sha'arim v'tbuna meshaneh itim v'chalif et hazmanim V'sader et ha'kohabim, v'mishmeroteha barakia k'ritzono, Orei yom v'layla, kolel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom v'mevi layla, u'ma'avdil ben yom v'mein layla, Adonai tzivot shemo, El Chai v'kayam, Tamid yiboch aleinu le'olam v'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amari, Amari. Ahavat Olam, everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down, when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohei B'Amot Yisrael. So we are within the week of celebrating the Festival of Purim, which technically begins on Thursday, but we're going to celebrate it next Friday. As you all know, it is thanks to the bravery of Esther and Mordecai that the Jews of the town of Shushan are saved. They find their religious freedom, their ability to practice their religion in the way that they wished. So we celebrate that freedom in a moment with the words of Michamocha. But I also note that this weekend marks the 60th anniversary of a not so proud event in our own American history, which is that of Bloody Sunday. As you may recall, 60 years ago, a group of peaceful civil rights protesters marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, asking for the ability to vote for African Americans. And what resulted was a bloody battle with the police, and thankfully, eventually, the passing of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act of that year. So we remember with all of our struggles for freedom that the journey continues, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, but that there is a chance for something better. And as we say, there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
Page 158. דבר, כי ודע אדוני את יעקב. וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Top of page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Together to page 164, as we lift our hearts, and if you're comfortable doing so, rise in body as well as spirit, the words of Tikvah.
Adonai, Shabbat Tikvah, Ufi Agiteni Latecha. Adonai, open eyes, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanurah, Omer chasadim tovim, mekoneh hakol, mezocher chasdei v'imahot, umevi geula livnei bneihem, למען שמו וענווה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומחיים אמונתו לשני העפר, מחמוך בגבורות ומדום מלך, מלך מנית ומחיה ומצליח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני לחיי העול. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Be seated. Please join me on the top of page 173 and this prayer for Shabbat. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat. Take a moment to just acknowledge the blessings in our lives. Whether you want to share aloud or not, I invite you to put yourself around a Shabbat table or just take this moment and think about one thing in this moment that you're grateful for, or something that you are always grateful for. And if you want to share it, raise your hand. No pressure. Jeff?
Well, as of April 1st, my son has a full-time job with Nassau Bosics.
Wow, mazel tov. That's wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Lisa?
I'm just always grateful for all the time I get to spend with my beautiful Annie and Sylvie.
She's a lucky kid to have a great Anna. Is that what you should call her?
Annie and Sylvie.
Yeah. Awesome. So keep all of the blessings that in the front of your mind as we read together the top of page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha, v'lecha na'eh v'hodot. Continue to pray for that shalom Rav, that great and abundant peace, just to descend upon us and the whole world. We add to that prayer the others you find in your heart. So pray in silence. as I said at the beginning of our time together, this month of March is filled with contrasts, right? The wind is the lion part that comes in. It comes in ferocious, and then it goes out like a lamb, sweet and gentle. Not always do those things happen completely in separate moments, but there are days where it feels like there's a little bit of both. And that's kind of like Purim. What do I mean by that? We know that our tradition teaches that when the month of Adar, in which Purim takes place, comes in, joy increases. And indeed, when you think of the holiday of Purim, most often, I imagine what you think about is the fun, dressing up, watching the spiel, dancing, making fun of things that we ordinarily take very seriously. And that is very much what Purim is about. But it's not all that Purim is about. And as you may know, this Shabbat that precedes the holiday of Purim has its own name. It's called Shabbat Zachor, the Sabbath of remembering. And it is named that because in addition to the regular Torah portion that we would read today, we are invited to look at an additional piece for Shabbat Zachor. It's actually that part that we're going to read this evening. It comes from the book of Deuteronomy. It's Deuteronomy 25, verses 17 to 19. And I'm going to read you the English translation now. It says this: Remember what Amalek did to you on your journey after you left Egypt. How, undeterred by fear of God, he surprised you on the march when you were famished and weary, and cut down all the stragglers in your rear. Therefore, when the eternal your God grants you safety from all your enemies around you, in the land that your God is giving to you as a hereditary portion, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget. So, I learned recently that not only is it a tradition to read those words on Shabbat Zachor, for some people it's a mitzvah, it's a commandment to hear those verses read directly from the Torah. Now that's not true of every verse of Torah that we hear during the year. It's not true of the opening, Bereshit. It's not true during the year of the Ten Commandments. But it is true of these words. So why? These words, what do they mean to us today? And why would we be commanded to hear them every year as we prepare for the holiday of Purim? Well, let's start with the literal meaning of the words, or at least what you could easily take to be the literal meaning. They seem to say that we have an enemy, and that enemy's name is Amalek, right? Historically, Amalek was a king of a tribe, the Amalekites. But Amalek, in our tradition, has come to represent anybody who comes forth to harass or destroy the Jews in any generation. And so, the commandment that's in these verses seems to be that we should utterly blot out Amalek from the face of the earth, blot out even the memory of Amalek from under heaven, and that we can't forget to do that. So there are some who take these verses to mean that what we should do is blot out our enemy, meaning destroy them, kill them, without stint. Don't hold back, don't leave anyone behind. No amount of force is too much. Completely obliterate them. As you can imagine, this interpretation of these verses has led to a lot of bloodshed. Some might say it's what's behind the most conservative wing of the current Israeli government. I don't know for sure that they've actually used those words as a proof text for the idea of completely obliterating Hamas. But certainly that word obliterate has been there. And in the midst of this war that, despite a fragile ceasefire, still feels kind of endless, to hear these words tonight, as we will, may send a shiver down your spine as it does mine. It's troubling to think that our goal would be to completely obliterate the enemy. And what's more than that, there's an irony and even a problem with that idea altogether. My colleague, Rabbi Amelia Wolf, on the West Coast, points out the following. She says, if we were to take that instruction about eradicating Amalek literally, that would mean that we ourselves would end up becoming Amalek. We would be the ones attacking and murdering the vulnerable, and then we'd be complicit in eradicating ourselves and destroying our own memory, and ironically keeping the memory of Amalek alive by continuing their actions. So maybe the literal way is not the way to take these words. Is there another way? Well, you should know that our tradition offers us a few alternatives. Here's one, and this is from the Talmud. Talmud Sanhedrin tells a story about people who have chosen Judaism, Jews by choice, converts. And it starts with people who are kind of everyday people, but then it starts to list some of the enemies of the Jewish people. And in that list is this sentence. Among the descendants of Haman were those who studied Torah and Bnei Brak. Bnei Brak, at that time, was one of the most prestigious yeshivot, one of the most prestigious places to study Torah. And there it was, according to the Sanhedrin, that the descendants of Amalek, that is Haman's descendants, studied Torah. What some have taken from this verse is this simple fact. You don't have to physically destroy the human beings, the enemies, in order to destroy that force of evil. Apparently, these descendants of Haman turned from the path of their ancestor Haman. Instead of going after the Jews, they said, we want to learn. And in learning, the more they learned, the more prestigious they themselves became. And so in this way, Amalek was eradicated by the descendants turning away from the actions that had created the evil and embracing Torah instead. Now I know you can read those verses and say, oh, does that mean that the way to end evil in the world is to get everybody to convert to Judaism? That is not what I'm suggesting. But I do think that Torah here can be taken as the path of righteousness and the path of intended good. And perhaps that is something that we should consider. Simply this, nobody is irredeemable. It is so easy in these politically fraught times, both here in our country and in the Middle East, it's so easy to other someone who disagrees with you, or even those who mean you harm. And for sure, there are real dangers out there. But if we can begin not by saying, let's blot out those with whom we disagree, but rather let's notice that they're created in God's image, then we can perhaps erase Amalek through conversation, through dialogue, through looking for the best in others, and maybe eventually reaching out a hand in friendship. It won't always be the right moment for this, I know, but still we can hold out this pathway as an ideal. And there is one other point that our sages raise about Amalek. And this comes from the Hasidic masters. I'm especially quoting here Kedushat Levi, Rabbi Levi Yitzhak and Berdichev, but it really is a theme that runs through a lot of the Hasidic teaching. And here's what they say. Evil, that force of Amalek, isn't actually an external force. It's something internal. And it's inside not just our enemies, but also every single human being. We each have the seeds of that evil within us, but we can do something with it. We Indeed, it's up to us to be vigilant, to do what we can to eradicate our own Yetzer Hara, that is, that inclination to do evil. But we need to remember that we are not necessarily any better than our enemies, but that we just need to work on controlling our impulses and hope that they're controlling theirs as well. As Michael Jackson once famously said, we need to start with the man, the person in the mirror, if we really want to address evil. And that, my friends, is a life's work. So those are just a few other ways we can view these words from the Torah that we're about to read on this Shabbat Zachor. But I want to close with going back to the question I raised at the beginning, which is, why are these verses given such importance in our tradition that we are supposed to read them and maybe even are commanded to hear them on Shabbat Zachor? Especially if they are so vulnerable to being used to harm others. Shouldn't we just abandon them and say, oh, this tradition isn't really serving us anymore? Well, you should know that some communities do make that decision, and I will tell you the Haftarah that goes along with this Torah portion is even worse. If you want to learn more about it, I invite you to come to Torah study tomorrow morning. I'm not going to address that here. But I want to suggest a different path, which is this. I also think that this command to remember Amalek and not to forget that commandment gives us a charge. We are commanded to hear these verses, I think, because we are told to wake up. When Amalek is around, when there is evil in the world, we can't sit it out. We have to be aware. We have to be awake, not to kill, at least not to start there, but not to sit back. Rather, we need to look at the world and discern, what is the evil here? Who is it threatening? And most importantly, what can I do about it? That's the commandment, I think. So on this Shabbat Zachor, may we remember and not forget. May we fulfill our obligation to make this a world not ruled by hatred, but rather filled with love. So we're going to turn now to reading those verses as we turn to our Torah service, page 362. I invite you to please rise as the articles now. can see we're in the book of Deuteronomy, by which I mean you can see that we're at the end of our scroll from the shape of the scroll itself, and we're going to have the one aliyah of those 3 verses that I translated for you just a few moments ago. The blessing, if you'd like to follow along, is on page 368. Just a moment, we are perusing the Torah. It seems to have, right, it doesn't want to be remembered. Good job.
Baruch Adonai HaBaruch.
Baruch Adonai HaBaruch Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chabonu mikol ha'amim, v'notan lanu et toraso. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek בדרך בצאתכם במצרים, אשר ככה בדרך, ויזנב בך, לא הנחשלים אחריך, ואתה עייף ויגע, ולא ירא אלוהים. והניח אדוני אלוהיך לך בכל אוהליך מסביב, בארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך נחלה לרשתה, תמחה את זכר עמלק מתחת השמיים, לא תשכח.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורה אמש, וחיי עולם נטע בספנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן.
Eitz Chaim, the Torah that we know of as the tree of life, still before us. We take this moment to offer up a healing prayer, thinking of those in our own lives who are in need of our thoughts and our prayers. From our own community, we pray for the health, for the healing, for the well-being of Jamie Lippman-Abish, Eileen Andact, Ellen Bassuk, Benjamin Menachem Frank, Carolyn Barone, Miriam Shulamit, Barbela, Jane Bernstein, Arnold Block, Dennis Brenner, Jack Kazis, Nora Correa, Luciano DeRico, Toby Domash, Pamela Dorman, Susan Zietzig, Janet Ewing, Kelly Fink, Ethan Fisher, Judy Fisher, Michelle Fisk, Evan Foster, Barbara Goldberg, Sandra Goldberg, Franz Goldring, Stephen Goldstein, Jean Wormley, Elise Grace, Lee Hawley, Marilyn Heckler, Ruby Hirsch, Enid Hirsch, Matthew A. Hood, Dacia Horowitz, Phyllis Horn, Stephen Israel, Toby Israel, Christine Jacobson, Danette Jamal, Louis Kaufman, Rita Kimmel, Tatiana Kotunia, Esther Kuchevsky, Sandy Lay, Gail Levy, Robert Mandel, Robert Mannix, Barbara Massey, Susan Miller, Ashley Morante, Adam Morante, Hannah Rachel Bach-Miriam, Michal Zahaba Bach-Miriam, Shmuel Yitzhak Ben Nissan, Patrice Newman, Nora Tzipora Batibana, Andrew O'Donnell, Sophia Palladino, Esther Parker, Ellen Perlman, Belinda Pescatore, Helga Pfeffer, Ben Filch, Rabbi Lester Polonsky, Dean Powell, Carol Ryder, Jan Rhodes, Julie Rosenberg, Laura Rosenspan, Renee Rosenthal, Jamie Rudick, Sylvia Rubel, Adele Sharon, Charlotte Miriam Schnupp, Edmund Steiner, Faye Strobel, Rhoda Strobel, Tova Batshikra, Elena Iris Wisson, and Jeff Young. Anybody would like to share an additional name of one you would like to pray for this evening?
Stanley Friedman.
Thank you, Jim. Terry.
Jacqueline Berlin.
Thank you. Daniela.
Matthew Prince.
Phyllis.
Loris.
Thank you. And on this side, Ron.
Steve Schiller, Francis Cole.
Thank you, Barbara.
Ellen Steve and Kevin Martin.
Yes. Holy One of blessing, be with all those people whose names we've shared, as well as those we hold in our hearts. Bring each of them to healing. Baruch atah Adonai Raphael. Praise you, Eternal One, the source from whence healing flows. now lift and dress our sacred Torah. Hyde, Dennis, in the honor of Galila, to dress Stuart. Forward. I invite you all to please rise as the Torah is named. Turn to page 586 as we remain standing for our leader. You may be seated. As our service draws towards its closing, our thoughts turn to those who departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, those of every race and every nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. Let's think about them all. Let's remember them on this Shabbat Zachor and give thanks for the lessons they taught us and the love that they gave us. As always, if you hear the name of one you are remembering and would like to do so, I invite you to rise and tribute. In this period of the yard site, the anniversary of the passing, we remember the following beloved. Harold Abramowitz, the husband of Deborah Abramowitz. Max Birnbaum, father of June Schwartz. Frank Blumenfeld, the grandfather of Ronnie Nelson. Herbert Comerow, the uncle of Carol Weiner. Jacob Datlow, father of Dorothy Schwartz. Rose J. Gilman, grand aunt of Avery Eli Oaken. Jim Brenman, brother-in-law of Irene and Stanley Zorn. Lillian Heroit, grandmother of Mitchell Friedman, blessed memory. Arthur Hollander, father of Charles Hollander. Irene Jacobson, mother of Robert Jacobson. Charlotte Jamal, grandmother of Charlotte Schnupp. Louis Klein, grandfather of Carol Ryder. Julius Kirschbaum, grandfather of Bonnie Hollander. Nicholas Kolios, father of Anthony Kolios. Rhoda Landy, the mother of Lawrence Landy. Marcia Lefkowitz, aunt of Dean Hernan. Samuel Marcus, father of Suzanne Plasker. Elaine Mindlin, the mother of Gail Zeidman. Jeffrey Portnoy, husband of Sandy Portnoy. Rose Riegelhaupt, mother of Irene Heimrich. Joseph Schreiber, father of Ronald Schreiber. Joseph Sheff, the father-in-law of Arlene Sheff. And Marvin Witt, brother of David Peskin. Is there anybody who would like to share with us an additional name, someone you are remembering this evening? Zichronam Livracha. May the memories of all of our beloved and of the righteous everywhere continue to bless us. Let's turn together to page 598 as we rise now as one community to remember them all. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Yalmad Yivrach Yimutei Yamlich Malchutei, V'chayei Chon v'yom V'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalah Yizman Kariv Yimru Amen, Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Lameh Amaya, Yitbarach V'yishabach V'yitpahar V'yitamam V'yitmaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal, Shemei D'Kudusha B'richu, La'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata, V'shvachata V'nechamata, Ta'amiran V'yalma V'yimru Amen, Yehi Shlam Araba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'yalkol Yisrael, V'yimru Amen, V'oseh Shalom V'yamamah, V'yaseh Shalom, V'aleinu V'yalkol Yisrael, V'yalkol Yishrei Tevel, V'yimru Amen. Please be seated. Announcements this evening. Ready and waiting is tonight's beam officer, Dennis.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Cantor and Yuri, for a wonderful Torah service. You always make Friday night special. There's a lot going on in Temple Tikvah, so let's get to it. Torah study will be both in person and via Zoom, beginning at 9:15 a.m. tomorrow morning. Choir rehearsal on the mark and cardio core and more will meet at their regular times this week. Brotherhood-sponsored pre-Passover wine sale has begun. See the list of wines available in the weekly update and place your order early. This Saturday, March 8th, which is tomorrow, will be a lunch and learn beginning at 11 a.m. where Rabbi Scheinberg will guide us through the Festival of Purim using Rabbi Dahlia Marx's book, From Time to Time, Journeys in the Torah Calendar. Bring your own lunch. The temple provides desserts and beverages. Wish your fellow congregants a happy Purim by donating to our Purim virtual card. See the information in the weekly update to donate. As for Purim, next week's Shabbat service and Purim Spiel will be at Temple Bethel of Great Neck, beginning at 7 p.m. No reservation needed. Brotherhood is holding their Ben's Deli in Bay Terrace fundraiser on Tuesday, March 18th. Stop in at Ben's anytime on the 18th with the Brotherhood Ben's flyer in the weekly update, and Brotherhood will get a percentage of your order. This is only at the Bay Terrace Ben's. We are looking for volunteers for an intergenerational discussion with our religious school students on March 23rd. Reach out to Lisa Lupo for more information. Sisterhood is having their Women's Seder on Sunday, March 30th at 12:30 p.m. All women of Temple Tikvah and their daughters, granddaughters, sisters, and friends, so that's just about everybody who's female, are invited to participate with RSVP information in the update. Brotherhood is having a trivia contest for the entire congregation on Zoom on Monday, March 31st at 7 p.m. Link will be provided on March 24th. And finally, as always, check the weekly update for additional information. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. To conclude, turn with us to page 625. Enjoy it, Donald.